It feels like just yesterday when we got the unveiling of the Sonic Frontiers DLC. Heck, it feels like yesterday when we got the announcement of Sonic Frontiers in the first place and the gameplay trailer and all that. But with the last update releasing on September 28th, we are just about a month away from the final Horizon update. So let's talk about a couple of things that Update 3 really needs to have. So first things first, let's talk about what we already know about Update 3. We know there's going to be a new story, new playable characters, and new challenges, and it was also confirmed later on Twitter that those new playable characters would be Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and of course, Sonic. So with that being said, and this next part should kind of go without saying, all of these characters need to be distinct in not just their movements, but also their overall gameplay. I feel like using all kinds of different moves for them should not only be different in terms of the visuals, but also in terms of how you actually execute those movements on the actual controls. There is no point in adding extra playable characters if every single one of them plays the same. I think having that kind of uniqueness between them would be really cool to see, even if it may slow down your gameplay in movement because some characters obviously aren't going to be running as fast as Sonic, and I can't imagine all of them doing the side loop and having the same abilities as Sonic, but it should still be fun to play as them regardless if they're fast or not. Just don't make them as slow as Silver in Sonic 06 because that was painful. And while I'm already on the subject of these new playable characters in the DLC, I should say that these characters should not only be playable in the DLC itself, but also in the base game as well. Let's just say, for example, the new DLC adds in like a whole new island where you can explore, but you can only play as those new playable characters like Tails, Knuckles, and Amy there, but you can't play as them on like Kronos or any of the other Starfall islands. Imagine how frustrating that would be. And this probably may not be possible, but judging off of what I just previously said with my last comment, I feel like it'd be pretty cool to be able to restart the game playing as like Tails from the very beginning and kind of going from there on. I don't know how possible that would be considering like you have to kind of make new cutscenes and change everything up, but I think it'd still be pretty cool to at least try to do something like that. And you might be thinking it's kind of impossible for these characters to be playable from the beginning because you need Super Sonic in order to beat the Titans, but all of these characters actually have their own super forms as confirmed by Sonic Origins, so it wouldn't be that out of the question in my opinion. I also think it'd be pretty darn cool to see, a modern version of Super Tails, Knuckles, and Amy in the first place too. Moving away from playable characters for a second, I want to talk about the actual DLC contents itself. Now, there's a couple things that I still want to see in terms of like what the overall DLC does, but I want to actually talk about like, you know how like for the first two packs they've always given a little quality of life kind of change or something small in that regard that wasn't actually a main focus of the update. Well, I feel like for Update 3, I would actually like to see being able to fight against the bosses by themselves. I know we have a boss rush, which is pretty cool, but I'd like to just be able to select and choose to fight these Titans from, wherever I want to. I don't want to have to fight a whole bunch of different robots or whatever to get to the Titan. I just want to fight the Titan. And I once again proposed my old idea where it'd be pretty cool if you can just walk up to where you previously fought that Titan and it would give you this little prompt that says relive the experience of fighting the Titan or something like that, and then you just press a certain button and you'd be able to refight the Titan again, but with, more powers or more abilities unlocked as you progress further in the story. Now, as far as the new story content for Update 3 goes, I feel like there's multiple different directions they can take it in. One in which they make an entirely new island, and with that said, I need it to be entirely different than what we've seen before because I feel like more than half of the islands we see in Sonic Frontiers are just basic grasslands, and I do not want to see that for Update 3. You see, because Kronos, Rhea, and Oranos, in my opinion, all of that could have just been one giant island. It feels like they were all just split up to make different islands and make the game a little bit longer than it currently is, which, I mean, it's fine, but I just hate how it's like all so similar. In my opinion, the next island should be like either like a snow theme or like a beach theme to really mix things up because, like I said, these islands are way too similar, and the ones that aren't, I feel like they stand out. Like Ares, in my opinion, is one of the best, if not the best island in the game. The other direction I can see them going in is kind of revising the final moments of the game of Orano's story because I really would not mind that happening because I need to see that final boss change. I feel like Sonic's reaction to the end of fighting Supreme is the exact same thing that I had when I finished. It was a good boss fight for sure, but after experiencing everything else you had beforehand, every other Titan, they were much more climactic than the final one, and the final one just kind of seemed, a little, I don't know. not as fun or not as cool as the other ones. I kind of thought they were going to keep leveling each other up, and they did that from the first moment you fight the Titan to like the last moment where you go to Chaos Island, but once you hit Aranos, I feel like it just kind of takes a step backwards. And even with bosses like the end, I feel like it'd be a really cool concept if you actually had, maybe you played as a Titan this time and you fight the end, but instead what we got was just a little mini game shooter, which is a huge missed opportunity because this game literally has the best boss fights in Sonic history and also one of the worst with the end. And after watching the last Horizons trailer, I'm pretty sure they're going to be changing the design of Supreme, as he looks so much cooler and a lot more menacing than he did before. That in mind, I can see this final boss going a lot differently than we've previously seen. And Sonic also has blue eyes in his super form, which I think is very reminiscent of when you collect a lot of rings in the beginning of the game and you unlock the power boost. So maybe I wasn't totally wrong about Sonic Frontiers after all. That said though, I really do hope that there's more to this form than just Sonic getting blue eyes. I hope maybe it's a different shade of yellow or something, or just something different to easily distinguish it from regular Super Sonic and this second form, Super Sonic 2, or whatever it's going to be called. To make a long story short, this game has two opportunities with Update 3, either revising the end of the game where you change the final boss entirely, or you make an entire new island that kind of continues after the events of the final parts of the game. You would think with 3 new characters you'd get 3 new islands too, for one for each character, but with that being said, I feel like that's more of a reason why these characters should be playable outside of this new island if we were to get that, and should be playable in the base game itself. Because if you really think about it, if each character's moveset is just as intuitive as Sonic's and you have a whole skill tree for each of them, it's going to take some time to kind of max out all of that stuff, and I don't think with one island you're capable of doing that. So you'd have to have them explore other islands and go and do stuff there. Another thing that I'm wondering is, with these new playable characters, will we be able to have customizable outfits for them too? Like we had Sonic having the soap shoes and the Santa outfit, what are we going to have with Tails, Knuckles, and Amy? Are they going to have the exact same outfits transferred over to them, or are they going to have new outfits? Now, I've said this time and time again, but I feel like Frontiers really missed out on the whole customizable outfits kind of feature there, because it's so limited, and what we all expected, at least me anyway, I expected so much more from this game, and having all sorts of different outfits, in the game, and even a shop where you could buy different outfits using in-game currency, but that just didn't happen. And I don't know how likely that is to happen with characters like Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. Even if they are to get customizable outfits, they'll probably only be 1 or 2 each total, which is a little unfortunate because I think you can really go out with all of these. These characters are really unique and they have all sorts of different designs that you can pick and pull from. There is no reason why you can't have Knuckles wear that Ova hat that he wore from, the Sonic Ova, or have Amy wear her classic Amy outfit, like how classic Amy's wearing the modern Amy outfit in Sonic Superstars. You can kind of do the inverse of that in Sonic Frontiers Update 3, but I don't know if any of that's likely. I just hope it really does happen. The last thing that I really want to see from Sonic Frontiers Update 3 is inspiring a whole next generation of 3D Sonic games, not only in gameplay but also character playability. Having new playable characters, or even just returning playable characters for this series in a 3D part anyway, would just be amazing, because it's been so many years since we've had that in games like Sonic Adventure, Adventure 2, Heroes, 06. Those are just a couple of games that I love because of their multiple playable characters, but with recent Sonic games you don't really have that much of it, and if you do, the characters are very similar, like Sonic and Shadow. Even still, I'd love to see Shadow be playable in more games, just saying. Me personally, I love games like Sonic Adventure because all of the characters, even if they did play somewhat similar, they all felt distinct enough where I had enough fun playing as all of them, really, aside from Big the Cat, but even then, I don't think he is nearly as bad as people make him out to be. But characters like Amy Rose, playing as her in Sonic Adventure was always so much fun. I think with Frontiers, all they need to do is really just make her faster and I'm right back into it. It'll also be so cool to be able to see Knuckles actually in an environment where he's punching and kicking like the Werehog version of Sonic in Sonic Unleashed, where instead of actually doing treasure hunting, he's actually just fighting. And I want to see that so much because remember when we first saw that Knuckles kind of prequel to Sonic Frontiers where we saw the little video there? I want to see that, but in game format, being able to control Knuckles and do that. There's so many things they can do with this, and I'm looking forward to it so much. Update 3 for Sonic Frontiers needs to do well because not only is it just going to change Frontiers for the better, but it could also change the future of 3D Sonic games where we get more playable characters at release, and that would just be amazing. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you want to see from Sonic Frontiers Update 3? I want to hear all of your thoughts. And also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on it, and also turn on the post notifications bell, that way you never miss a video from me. You guys do not want to miss what I have to say. All that being said, thank you all so much for watching. This is Signing out. Have a super blessed day, y'all.
Why are you playing that trash?